Welcome to Brand Lover, honest, real, and lively conversations for flourishing entrepreneurs and budding business owners on a mission to cultivate a heartfelt brand that connects with their purpose-driven mission. My hope is that you walk away feeling inspired and refreshed with a weekly takeaway in your back pocket that you can apply to your life or business. Huge welcome to Stephanie Vaughan, a wife, mum to 3 young adults, personal stylist, which is why we're here, and committed coffee lover, which I love 100%. I'm besties already. In 2013, she decided to turn her passion for styling into her career and has been helping women find and fall in love with their personal style ever since. So welcome, Steph.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Rachel.
Absolute pleasure.
Lovely.
I'm very excited about this topic. But tell first, before we really dive into the juicy stuff, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your business, and what you offer to people. What are your services like?
So basically, I work one-on-one with women who need a little extra guidance in their wardrobe. All throughout life, everything changes, including our style, and our wardrobes need to keep up with that. So I usually take people through a journey of rebuilding through basics and basically strengthening their wardrobe to reflect who they currently are.
I love that. And how would you define a personal stylist if somebody came up to you and said, never heard of that before, what is a personal stylist?
So a personal stylist is very different to an influencer, first of all. So we work with body shape, color, and basically finding the pieces that actually work best for you and your shape and your style, including your personality and lifestyle. So we're, all about sort of working with you and not transforming you into somebody who you aren't.
Yeah, I love that. And I sort of
Mm.
like, as I reflect on my journey from, from a teenager to a young woman to then a wife, a mother, business owner, we take on all of those personas, and it's kind of like we need to really feel confident in how we dress, don't we? So that we can, present a certain way. Because that's just, it's how we want to be perceived by others. And I love this topic particularly because like I dress brands, like that's how I see myself. I'm a brand stylist. And I sort of, I see brands as having their own personality and that sort of thing, and to be able to come up with the colors and all that sort of thing. So that's why I'm really excited to chat with you. And we'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. But I was just wondering, from a business perspective, you've started this business in 2013. So what was the catalyst or motivation to pivot your career into this personal styling and start your own brand?
It was quite a personal journey.
Mm.
I'd been working in fashion retail for about 8 years, working with women and just watching the transformations in change rooms and watching them walk out the door with a brand new outfit, feeling amazing and looking amazing. Um, I guess I leaned on personal style a lot when I had a massive health diagnosis,
Mm.
which threw me sideways. And I guess getting up each morning and getting dressed um, more to the way that I wanted to feel and not
Mm.
so much how I was actually feeling at the
Mm.
time, I found just dressing well and dressing in pieces that made me feel good
Yeah.
made such an impact on my life. And that's basically the catalyst
Oh,
to stepping out and wanting to help others on that same journey because, yeah,
yeah.
it was massive.
That is so beautiful, and
Mm.
I can relate to it on probably a much smaller scale, to what you sounds like you've been through. But what you're saying is, I'm just thinking back to when I had my 4 very little ones at home with me, and they were full time at home. We didn't, you know, send them to daycare or anything. So I was the primary carer. My husband was the breadwinner, so to say. And and I was like wrecked. Like I was so
Yeah,
exhausted. But I relate to what you're saying because like I always made time in my day. Um, First nap of the day, babies went down to sleep. I would have a shower. I'd put my makeup on. I would get dressed, and it made me feel more capable. Do you know? Like it's like putting on
absolutely.
that it's like putting on confidence, isn't it? And
It
I
is.
love what you said about it. It's not about how you feel, it's about how you want to feel.
That's right.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's the power of clothes is truly amazing. Really
yeah,
is. Yeah.
yeah. Like, okay, I
Yeah.
just need to say that louder for all the husbands.
Amazingly, men are actually starting to discover that more so these days as well,
Yeah.
which is really refreshing.
Do you work
Yeah.
with some men?
Occasionally, not
Yeah,
that often. It's not because I haven't wanted to. It's been
yeah,
mostly because it's just not been that way.
yeah.
But I do have a few men who I have helped along the way. So
One.
yeah,
Yes, well, that's
it's
exciting.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what do you love most about working with women to help them fall in love or rediscover their style? Like, you know, you said that that was the thing that helped you through a really challenging time in your life. So how does it make you feel helping others to, you know, to discover their sense of style and this, you know, unlocking that, you know, that feeling and that sense of, yeah, inner confidence, I suppose.
Mm, yeah. Um, oh, it's amazing.
Mm,
I truly believe that this is my purpose
mm,
and this is what I was meant to do,
yeah.
which is, I know it sounds weird, but yeah, it's just such an amazing feeling to watch somebody step into their own selves, feel more empowered as well. Because once you know these things, once you know what works best for you and what doesn't, that is truly empowering.
Mm,
And yeah, just being able to give that gift of empowerment and
mm.
yeah, just seeing somebody shine is beautiful.
Yes, can
Yeah,
imagine it can be quite overwhelming if you know, if your body has been through an ordeal or you know, your shape has changed, particularly, you know, like
yeah,
I can only relate that to the journey of mum stuff.
yeah.
But you know, there's
Absolutely.
other things that impact our shape and our size and all of those things. And I can imagine it's quite overwhelming to visit a shopping center and have all of these different possibilities for
Mm,
then to you to come and help them to narrow down, like I don't need to be looking at those things because they're not going to like they're not right for my whatever,
yeah,
whether it's color or
yeah,
style or, you know, cut or whatever.
that's
I
right.
imagine that, yeah, that would even just eliminating the things that they don't need to be looking at and focusing on the pieces that they know are going to work for them. I can imagine that that would already just spark so much confidence.
It really does. When I do my shopping sessions,
Yes.
usually I go in and do a pre-shop because I've done a style consultation with my client to
Yeah.
really get to understand who she is, what she
Mhm.
needs, what her personality style wise is, and then I can just target those stores, go in, pick some pieces that I think would work really well, and off we go.
Love that.
So it just takes away that overwhelm and the
Mm.
stress of walking into a store, having to start from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah, I totally
Yeah.
understand that feeling. Yeah,
Yes, and without sort of having a goal in mind, I think, like when you go to the
mm,
shops and you think, "Oh, I need to," well, you know, it's usually because you need, usually it's like, I need to buy a dress for this, or I need, you've got something in mind, right? But to not
yeah,
really know where to begin or where to start or what you're looking
mm,
for, there's just, it's stressful.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, that targeted approach, it's just so much easier
Mm,
because, yeah, with fresh eyes and
yeah.
targeting basics, a lot of people put off buying the basics because they're boring.
Yes.
So they will go and buy all the gorgeous sparkly pieces.
Yes.
And then they just hang in the wardrobe because they don't work back with anything else. So
Yeah, that makes sense
it's,
to me.
yeah,
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 I certainly have shiny object syndrome when it comes to clothes. Like, you see all the nice pieces in the windows and
mm,
yeah, there's lots of florals and not a lot
yeah,
of basics, and then you don't have anything to wear with them.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's just little tweaks quite often that can make such a huge difference to the wardrobe,
amazing.
which is great. Yeah.
All right. So I was wondering what type of challenges you find business owners in particular face, some common challenges you see that they face in regards to dressing for, say, networking events or photo
Mm,
shoots, or simply showing up on social media. Like I know a lot of ladies shy away from sharing photos or selfies or even getting behind the camera because of that confidence or that, they're not loving how they're dressing. It's quite simply. So I'd love
yeah.
to hear some of those sort of challenges that you help with.
Yeah. So that was also me when I started out in the
Yeah.
business. Social media, doing the selfies was
Oh gosh, yes.
massively challenging. So
Yeah.
I used to actually cut my head off and just show the outfit. And
No.
I did. I
Oh my
did.
goodness.
So I totally understand that it can be quite daunting.
Yes.
But yeah, I think when you know that you look good and you know that you're in a great outfit, I think that it's just confidence.
Mm,
At the end of the day, it's all about bringing confidence forward, stepping into your own power, and just having those photos taken. And the more often you do it, the easier it gets.
yes, that's
Yeah,
so true about confidence, isn't it? The more you
it
do it, the more
is.
you
It
can't get
is.
the confidence without doing it. But to look
No,
amazing first, I think
that's right.
certainly
Yes.
bolster that confidence.
That's right. And
Um,
it's yeah, and just simple things like having having your hair cut, looking after
yeah.
yourself, just self-care and well-being, that shows through as well.
Yes.
Um, and branding for businesses especially. A lot of people try hard to wear their business colors,
Yes, I was going
and
to ask you about this. Yes.
yeah, yeah, and sometimes they're just not the right colors
Yeah.
for the person. So there's different ways around that, and that's where
Yeah.
working with a personal stylist definitely helps.
Yes. What are some
Mm.
have you have any good little tips on that topic in particular? Because I talk to a lot of ladies who struggle with this, obviously because I'm the one that made their brand colors. Right.
Yeah,
I've got a
yeah,
photo shoot. I don't know what to wear. Like, do I have to wear my brand
mm,
colors? Because it really doesn't. I don't have anything in my wardrobe.
that's right.
What's your recommendations around that?
So go back to neutrals
Yeah.
basically. So wearing neutrals is always easy, and
Yeah.
then just bring in elements of that color, say through an earring or a pair of
Mm,
reading glasses or a small scarf, just some tiny element that's just enough to reflect your brand color, but
mm.
toned back with lots of neutrals.
Yes, I love that. And also, like, even props, isn't it? Like a little vase
Yeah,
in the background or a
that's
book that
right.
has that color. Yeah, I love
Absolutely.
that. Such great tips. So good. Bring it back to neutrals. Oh, so good.
Yes.
Um, all right. So, um, let's say our business lady, is facing a wardrobe crisis and she just is at her wit's end. She wants to present professionally and be perceived in a certain way, to cultivate her brand reputation. But she looks in her wardrobe and she's just screams internally. Are there some
Mhm.
foundations that she should be looking at, or some kind of steps that she could follow to find that amazing sparkly confidence that you speak of?
Absolutely. This is the majority of my clients.
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah. So starting from scratch, going through the wardrobe, clearing out anything that shouldn't be there. It's just clutter because
Mm,
the more you have, the more confusion you're creating for yourself. So
mm,
just removing all the pieces that you're no longer needing or wearing,
mm,
and then just evaluating do you have enough dark and light basics? When you have light and dark, it's just so much easier to create outfits if you've got a
Mm,
whole wardrobe of dark and maybe some bright colors. It's really limiting. So
mm,
looking at your basics like your pants, some tops, jackets, a power blazer, um, and just having a mix of those neutral tones and then elements of color can be brought in just with fun pieces.
mm.
So yeah, and writing
Yeah.
a shopping list before you go shopping is another major thing.
Yes.
That way you can actually be more targeted and specific as to what you need to bring into your wardrobe.
Mm. And with that sort of the splash of color and that sort of thing, would that also then apply to trends like
Seasonal.
like some fast
Mm,
fashion type things?
absolutely. So basics, I always say invest,
Okay.
because you usually choose neutrals for basics, such as your denim jeans, a nice pair of
Mm,
dress pants in a black, and maybe a camel. That could be your light neutral. You don't have to go white if you don't want to.
mm,
Um, and yeah, your play pieces can be the seasonal trends. So at the
mm,
moment, we've got lots of red, um, got reds and greens, lots of brighter colors, but you don't necessarily want to carry those through your wardrobe for next season.
yeah.
So that's where a bit of fast fashion is okay to add in.
Yes. That makes so much sense to me. I'm sorry, my dog just went
Mm.
crazy outside. I don't know if you can hear that.
So is mine.
I can't hear yours either, so that's great.
Yay.
Anyway,
Ah.
yes, and I love that. And I love that because I am notorious for spending on the pretty things, like,
Mm,
the like spending more on those, leaving nothing for my basics.
yeah.
And so
And
I think that's a really good lesson. Like, I'm just loving this conversation because I'm like, ooh,
getting some tips.
get some dress pants, yeah, power blazer,
Yeah,
writing mental notes myself. So this is
yeah.
wonderful. Um, so oh, what was I going to say? I also just wanted quickly to touch on
Mm,
something that is, and I don't know if it's I've always felt really funny about it because for me, when you present your brand, you want it to appear professional, right? You want people to trust
mm,
you. You want them to trust that you know what you're doing, that you're confident in your work and how you help them. But there has sort of, I've seen business coaches, I've been told it myself, to show up for your business however you are at the time. Like if you're in your pajamas or you're no don't have any makeup on and don't worry about your appearance. The most important thing is that you show up. And I've always felt not quite right about that, but I would love to hear your
mm.
take on that advice.
I think that's been a really interesting one. COVID was the first time that I actually had
Mm.
to, I didn't deal with it, but I guess that was the first time I really noticed it.
Yeah.
I'm part of a business mentoring coaching group.
Yeah.
And our business mentor turned up wearing her activewear on Zoom, of course, because it was
Um,
COVID. And when I looked around my little Zoom room, everybody was dressed so casually.
mm,
And total forgiveness for that because it was COVID and we were all
yeah.
trying to deal with, you know, moving on.
Yeah.
But I think that was an eye opener as to when you show up just however you want with no effort. To me, it feels as though um, I'm not worth putting the effort in for.
Yeah.
As it's yeah,
Yeah.
that's just my thinking. But yeah, I would much rather see somebody just put. You don't have to go crazy.
No.
Just one little thing.
Yeah.
Throw on a jacket, throw on a cardigan, um, pop on some lipstick,
Yeah.
just something just to make that tiny effort because that will also then make you feel as though you're stepping into your role
Yeah.
work-wise as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I I'm actually with you on that. I've always just felt really funny about it. Like every now and then I'll get on my Instagram stories when I'm walking my dog, but I've got my big sunnies on and my hat on because
Yeah.
I don't feel, I
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm ready, like I'm not,
Mm.
like I think that even just the process of preparation helps you
Mm.
to mentally prepare for that business conversation, or showing up for a new client call or something like that. Like, it does show that you care, and I think that's really important in taking that step, taking that step towards that person and saying, I'm here for you, like I genuinely care about this. And then for them to kind of go to see that.
Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes, without having to actually use words. So thank you so much for sharing that, because I think it's probably something that's against the common thought these days.
Mm.
And maybe we're just old fashioned, but I'd love to hear from anybody else. If you have any thoughts or
Yeah,
feelings
me too.
around that, I would love to hear from you on social media or email or anything. Like, I think that's a really interesting topic. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh,
Um,
you're welcome.
and just as we sort of wrap up, do you have any final words of wisdom around personal styling and confidence?
Ooh, words of wisdom. We're all on a learning journey still. Um, I think just take time for yourself and, you know, buy the clothes, buy the things that make you feel good. A lot of people will push things aside for themselves and
Mm,
just say, no, I'm not really worthy of that. Um, I did actually experience that myself the other week
mm,
with an item in the store, and I thought that's just amazing.
mm,
And I was with a client, and she said, "You really should get that." And I was, "No, no, no." At
yeah,
the end of the day, I did go back and get it, and it's been probably the best piece I've bought. I've worn it the most,
yeah,
and it makes me feel good. So I think just, yeah, doing
yeah.
something for you and buying those pieces that do make you feel good is definitely worth it.
That's such beautiful advice. I love
Mm,
that. Giving yourself permission.
mm,
Yeah, and
um,
you know that feeling. So this is interesting, and I know we were wrapping up. I was at the shops with my daughter the other day, and she's 12. She had some money to spend, and she's very careful with her money because she
yeah,
doesn't have a lot of it. But
yeah,
she really wanted a jumper, and we went and tried on a few, and she was like, yeah, I know it's there, I'll come back and I'll see. So we went to this store, and she tried on this jumper, and she could tell she just felt like her shoulders went back, and she was like holding herself, she was looking at herself in the mirror. Her whole just demeanor just changed when she had this jumper on, of all things, and she loved it, but it was a little bit outside of what she wanted to spend. So we left it there, and we wandered around, tried on some other jumpers, and inevitably came back to buy that jumper. And I chatted her through the whole, like, investing in something that makes you feel good is an investment. Like, it's not just a frivolous spend. It was something that she'd considered, and we really talked about how she felt about it. And that, just what you said then, just made me think about that beautiful story, and to actually see that physical change in her just over a jumper can just be amazing.
yeah. I love that. That's so gorgeous.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
actually really,
yeah.
really sweet. It was
And
beautiful.
yeah, I love the fact that you walked off and walked around and thought about it,
Mm,
because to me, it's really important to think back to what else you're going to wear that with that you already have.
yes,
And yeah, so that was perfect.
yes. Oh, thanks.
I love that.
It's just a really good example,
Yeah,
that, to give yourself permission, even if it's a little bit of a stretch or not what you were expecting to find. But I think like when you do find that one that you wear to death and you love, and it changes the way that you feel, like if you're wearing it almost every day, like I think that's so, so worth it, like it's a
yeah,
permission to invest in yourself. And I love
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And sustainably, it's a win-win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because yeah, cost per wear, it wins.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Steph. I've just loved this conversation. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you coming and having a chat with me about this amazing topic.
It's been wonderful. Thank you so much for inviting me along to chat. It's been really
Pleasure.
fun.
Yeah. So where can our
Cool.
people find you? Where can they find you to learn more about what you do and how you help people?
So I have a website which is infinitestyling.com.au, and also I am on social media platforms Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all under Infinite Styling.
Perfect. Well, go and check out Infinite Styling. Steph is just the most beautiful, down to earth woman. And if you're feeling like you're lacking in your confidence, in what you're wearing, or even to represent your business, she's definitely your lady. Thanks, Steph.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Rachel.
If you found this episode inspiring or helpful, I invite you to share the link with another woman in business or someone who needs to hear this message. Every woman we can support to grow a meaningful, profitable brand is another woman who is free to live a purposeful life for herself and be more present for her family. None of us are alone in the challenges we face in business, but the solution can start with a gift from someone else, and it could be a podcast episode just like this one. Thank you for listening.